Hi, everybody. Welcome back to the Ant Flow Show. This is Jackie, and joining me today is Kathleen. So, we're on episode 9, and we are going to talk about menstrual cup leaking. So, if there's one problem that people have with cups, it's that they leak. So, we hopefully will explain why this happens and then give you a few solutions for what you can do if you find this happening to you. So, welcome to the show, Kathleen.
Thank you. I feel welcomed.
Perfect. Sounds good. So, we have a little ding 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 TMI moment brought to you by Kathleen, who has a story about leaking disaster. So, go ahead, Kathleen. What is your TMI moment?
So, a few years ago, I was working at a private academy in Korea, and I was on my period one day. I was wearing like a dress and tights, so my butt was mostly covered. So that's a bonus. But I was in the middle of teaching this class of like middle school students, and I felt something bubbling.
Oh no.
And I was like, ooh, that can't be good. That can't be good at all. And this academy was in like kind of like a narrow, like 5-story building, and each floor only had one restroom. So they were the floor I was on, it was the boys' restroom, and it was in the middle of class. And I was just like, I just need to handle this right now. So I told my students to like read something, or I don't know. I was just like, read this, I'll be right back. And I went next door into the boys' bathroom because I didn't want to go down the stairs to use the women's room. That was not an option. I didn't have that kind of time. So I went in there, and I was like, there was a lot of blood.
Oh
So I
no.
like took my, it was leaking. So I took my cup out, I emptied it, I think I rinsed it real quick, and I just stuck it back in. I didn't have like a lot of time because I was supposed to be teaching, and there's cameras in those academy like rooms, so the boss knows if you're not there.
Oh yeah.
So
Danger.
yeah,
Danger.
gotta be quick. And I just put it in, hope for the best, and went back to teaching.
And what was the result?
And well, when I finally got when at the end of the night, which was probably like an hour later, I went to the ladies' room and had like a little more time to
Yeah.
take care of myself, and I realized that my cup hadn't opened.
Oh no.
So I just shoved it in there, but it hadn't actually opened all the way. So I
Yeah.
was still like leaking all over the place.
Oh, and were you wearing like a pad or anything as like backup or?
I was not.
Oh no. Yeah, I was gonna say, oh, if you're wearing a pad, then whatever. But like, if you have
I
no
might have
backup,
stu- I might have like shoved some toilet paper in my underwear like when I changed it
yeah.
during class, but I don't remember.
Okay, let's talk
That
about
was,
this. Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
but it was just like it was a mess. So I think I adjusted it. I got it open, and then I had to sit on the subway for an hour to get home. Like with like my bloody undergarments, but like I said, I was wearing a jet dress and like black tights, so nobody else knew. It was just me being uncomfortable.
Oh, so bad. Yeah, we've
That
all
was the
been there
worst.
for sure. So, let's talk about the all important question. Do you use backup with a menstrual cup?
I usually don't, but if I know it's my heavy flow day, I will use a panty liner or something.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm kind of similar. I don't use, well, I'll usually use like a cloth pad or like a cloth panty liner, I guess. Kind of at the beginning, right at the beginning or right at the end of my period. Usually I won't because it's like I'm not that terrified. But yeah, during my heavy flow days, it's way too scary to not wear some backup. All right, so let's get into leaking, some possible reasons, and then we'll hopefully give you a few solutions for why it happens. So the first one I had is not emptying your cup enough.
Yes.
So, how you would know this is happening is if you put your cup in and then you're good to go for like, I don't know, 3 or 4 hours or a couple hours. And then all of a sudden, you get the feeling of like it's leaking
Bubbles.
and bubbles. Yes, bubbles, exactly. So,
It
Kathleen, is this.
usually feels like your vagina is like bubbling, and it's like, what has happened?
Yeah, I think like once it's happened to you, you know it for sure.
Yeah.
And so, how often do you have to change your cup on your heaviest flow day?
On my heaviest day, usually every 3 to 4 hours.
Hmm. Yeah, I'm kind of similar. I use a bit of a smaller cup. I use the small spoon cup, which has a capacity, I think, of 23 mils. And you were using the Diva cup, which has a capacity of 30 mils. So you would have a little bit longer than I would. But yeah, with a small cup like that, I definitely have to change mine every 2 or 3 hours. And then, and so what do you do at night on your heaviest flow? Do you like get up in the night to change it, or do you just wear a pad or something?
I will get up at the night and change it.
Whoa, that is dedication.
Well, because you like feel it. Usually, though, on my heavy days, I also have cramps. So,
Yep.
like, I'll wake up from the cramps and I'll just like change my cup, take some drugs, go back to bed.
I love it. I will
That's how it usually
usually
works.
I try to like sleep through the night. I usually just wear like a heavy pad and then know that it's gonna like leak, and then usually I won't wake up necessarily, but my flow is not super heavy on the other hand as well, so I can usually just make it through the night. And but yeah, definitely on your heavy flow days, I recommend changing your cup. I don't know, every 3 or 4 or 5 hours. The companies say you can go for 8 to 12, but I mean that's not actually true if you have a heavy flow.
Yeah. On the regular days, like on the first day, the last day, it's just that second day where it's like I don't know what's happening. Like my uterus is just like slothing off.
It wants to get rid of all that blood
Yeah,
for sure.
that second day. Once that's over, I can go all day.
For sure, for sure. Okay, so let's get into the second reason why a cup might leak. So, if you have a cup that's too small or a cup that's too large, they can both kind of cause some problems. So, a too small cup, just picture it's in your vagina and it's like just sliding around, moving around. It can never fully open. And if you have a cup that's too large, it will try to open fully, but it will never actually open fully. So, Kathleen, have you had any experiences like this or any struggles or?
Um, Not really. Just I did have problems opening the Diva cup sometimes, but
Mm-hmm.
the Organi cup's a little smaller,
Mm-hmm.
so I haven't had issues with that one. But
Were you using the larger Diva cup or the smaller Diva cup?
the larger one because I'm over 30 or
30.
whatever the thing said.
Mm.
Yeah.
Yeah, I had kind of a similar experience. I started out with the larger Diva cup and it never really fully opened. I just think it was too big for the size of my vagina. I haven't given birth vaginally, so um, yeah, and I switched to like a smaller menstrual cup, and yeah, I just found it a lot easier. It just actually opens, and there's room in there, and I didn't get cramps and like all that kind of thing. Hmm.
Yeah.
Okay, so
I still get cramps, but I think it has nothing to do with the cup.
that's most likely. Yeah, I never really get menstrual cramps, believe it or not, but when I was using the large Diva cup, it was like so painful. And then as soon as I switched to a smaller cup, I was like, oh, that's my problem right there.
Yeah.
So, all right.
Those like Lily cups look really nice. The like soft like long one, the pink one.
Oh, yeah, yeah. That's from
I
a
don't.
company in Sweden, in Tamina, and they have like some interesting ones. They have the Lily cup, and then they have like one for teens as well. They have a collapsible cup. So, yeah, they kind of make some interesting products.
Yeah. That Lily cup. That's on my radar.
Is
I
it?
think I'd like that one.
Ah, okay.
Just looks like it'd be like the most comfortable. Like
Hmm. Yeah, I like the shape of it. It's like kind of long and thin instead of like shorter and like has a doesn't have a very wide base. So yeah, I think it could potentially be feel quite good. All right, so let's talk about inserting it. So Kathleen, do you have any tips or tricks for us about how to insert a cup correctly?
well, usually what I do is I fold it in half
Mm-hmm.
and stick it in there, and then I just swirl my finger around the outside of it, like pushing out on my vaginal wall,
Mm-hmm.
so the cup has space to open, and that usually does the trick.
And so do you point it like kind of back or upwards, or like which way do you point it?
I usually point it back because that's what the instructions said on the Diva cup, and you Also, when I put my finger around it, I can feel if it's like caught on anything, like
Hmm.
my cervix, because you don't want it like wedged under your cervix or anything.
Yeah, it should be like below your cervix because if you think about your cervix is where your menstrual fluid comes from. So, I mean, if it's behind your cervix or in front of your cervix, it's not going to work. It has to be under your cervix. And then Kathleen,
True.
I like how. Oh, go
I
ahead.
heard your cervix can like move a little, like moves around in there.
Yeah, I was just going to mention on the episode number 7, I was talking to the founder of the Voxapod, Amanda, and she mentioned that something that people don't know is that throughout your cycle, your cervix position can change. So, what works for you at the beginning of your period may not work for you at the end of your period, and vice versa. So, I mean, you have to be a little bit flexible, I think. And okay, so I have a question for you, Kathleen. How do you
Yes.
know if your cup is inserted correctly? Like, do you have a feeling about it, or is it like your finger around the edge, or like
I
so?
just
How
like
do
when
you
I
know?
put my finger around the edge, it just feels like it's all open, like there's no folds left in it, and then I
Hmm.
know I'm good to go.
And so, if you have a fold in there, how do you handle that?
I usually just do my finger around again, and but sometimes there's like some days that it's just like not working as well as other days. So
Hmm.
then I might take it out and try again, like stand in a different position and like do it again,
Hmm.
which is best if I'm at home for that because when you're in like a public restroom,
You don't have a ton of choices, quite honestly.
yeah.
Hmm.
Although I do like the when they have the handicap rooms where there's the toilet and the sink all together,
That's
and you
my
can
number
just
one
like
tip.
close that door,
Yeah, like
or the
Starbucks.
like or the unisex rooms where it's your own private bathroom.
Yeah,
Those are
sometimes are
okay.
like the handicapped bathrooms. I know that's bad to use a handicapped bathroom if you're not handicapped, but I mean, sometimes I do it if I'm like have a menstrual cup emergency going on. So I like look around and I'm like, okay, it's okay, and then I just go do it. So
Yes.
so for me to know that a cup is open, I can usually just like kind of by the way that it pops open. I insert it, and then if it pops, then I'm like, okay, it's in. But if it doesn't, it's like, yeah, I just know that it's not. So I'll usually like take it out and then reinsert it. But with some menstrual cups, I've tried like almost all of them now. Some of them, it's kind of just feels like no matter what I do, they're not really going to open or just seal to my walls of my vagina just for whatever reason. I think probably they're too big is usually the problem for my body. So yeah, I mean, if you are struggling with trying to get your cup to work and it just keeps leaking and not really opening, don't give up on them. You most likely have the wrong size of cup. So if you haven't given birth vaginally, I'd recommend going with a smaller cup. But if you have given birth, then chances are that you probably need a small or a larger cup. So yeah, try that and don't give up. All right,
Yes.
Kathleen, do you have any final tips about menstrual cups and leaking and some things that our listeners could try?
I don't know. Well, you said you feel yours pop. I've like never felt mine pop.
Oh, yeah?
Like I don't know what's going on in your vagina.
Something different, obviously.
Maybe your walls are a little looser and it's just like pop.
Could be, I don't know.
So I don't know. Or
Hmm.
maybe I'm just using cups that are too big. Who knows?
I
But
mean, that's maybe a possibility.
so I think people should know that even if they don't hear it pop, if it's they can feel if it's open. You just stick your finger in there, swirl it around. It'll feel open.
That's true. And how many cycles did it take you to like get the hang of it, or did you just have like a good experience right from the start?
Um, I probably like 3 or 4
Mm-hmm.
before I was like pretty confident.
Hmm. Yeah, that's kind of the experience that most people have for sure. So, um, yeah, and my final tips. Hmm. Oh, I guess my best tip I have is usually like people's cervix position is different from person to person, but generally if you point the cup kind of back and down towards your tailbone, like if you're sitting on the toilet, then it would be back and down. instead of up towards the sky, then you will probably have way better results. That's kind of the one thing that most people kind of get wrong, and then it will leak because it won't be in the right position. So, yeah, just keep that in mind.
I have one more tip.
Oh, sure, go ahead.
If you are staying with friends or family,
Okay.
and it's your heavy flow day, I recommend you empty your cup in the toilet and not in the shower, because sometimes those blood clots will like stick in the shower drains, and then you have to deal with that after the shower. So,
Okay, this sounds like another TMI moment potentially.
I'm just saying. I like to just dump my out in the shower because I'm there. But
I know, I hear you.
sometimes there's those clots and they just stick in the drain, and it's like,
Yeah,
then
it's
you have to like get some toilet paper afterwards. So
a little bit horrifying. Yeah, it's true. I agree with you. Okay, sounds good. So thank you for joining us again on this episode and for all your tips and tricks, Kathleen. I really enjoyed having you.
thanks. I enjoyed being here.
Oh, perfect. I always like talking to you, and talking periods and menstrual cups is like happy times. It brings me back to our days biking through South Korea, chatting about all the things on our many-hour bike rides that we used to go on. All right, everybody. So if you want more information or to like find out the other episodes or to contact me or to submit your TMI moment, then just head over to antflowshow.com. So you can spell that AUNTFLOSHOW.com. And if you want to get in touch with me, you can email me at antflowshow@gmail.com with any comments, questions, people you'd like me to interview. If you want to be a guest on the show, anything like that. Just get in touch and I'd love to hear from you. All right, everyone, that's all for now. Take care and catch you next episode.
Bye.
Bye.